find that Miraa is a drug. So really, this is a crop that has been grown and consumed, especially in Meru, where I come from, for so many years. And according to me and my practical experience, I've never had a situation where Miraa has an effect, really, that cripples a person's life. So we don't understand, and we intend, as you are aware, that I moved a motion in the National Assembly seeking to have a committee formed, another committee formed, so that we can dwell into the details and get to know exactly what's the big deal about Miraa. So that process is ongoing. We were in Meru, particularly Mailitatu, in Igembe Central constituency, and we met the people. The committee met the Miraa growers, the people who chew Miraa, and the middlemen and the sellers of Miraa. We are on a fact-finding mission, and we are continuing with that process to be able to really get to know, because I believe that nobody has in Kenya concentrated on finding out what really is Miraa, and to be able to come up with a conclusion. Even Nakanda, they have not come up with a proper conclusion on what Miraa is, but it's a crop and what we should do about it as a government.
Okay, so I'd like to move this over to you, Dr. Mutisya. Do you share the same view? Do you support the UK, United States, Netherlands, and several other countries who have in fact banned Miraa? And also from a medical perspective, are there harmful effects? I'm curious to hear your opinion.
Yeah, actually I would want to concentrate more on the medical issues, because first of all, to clarify, Miraa is a drug because we define a drug as any substance which, when ingested in the body, taken in the body, causes a physiological change. And we know that Miraa is a stimulant. It stimulates the brain. So Miraa is a drug, but whether it's prohibited or whether it's illegal, it's not. So it's a drug, but so far it has not been controlled and it's not prohibited. And to add on that also, as a psychiatrist, we know there are people who, when they consume Miraa in large quantities, they can get a psychotic episode. By that I mean they could get lost touch with reality. They get hallucinations and delusions. So, but not everybody who consumes Miraa again would get psychotic episodes. And we know those who start using it early, again, are at risk. And not, again, their genetic vulnerability. So I would want to look at it more on the medical issue, because there are many other drugs which have medical side effects, but they are still legal. So for me, I would want to concentrate more on what effect it has in the brain. And
when you say that,
yeah,
that it's a drug, and you describe a drug as something which causes physiological change.
yeah.
Anything in your system causes physiological change. You take tea, caffeine, does.
Yes,
Okay.
actually caffeine is also a drug. But
So,
I'm saying there are some drugs which are controlled and others which are not.
so where is this study that was done that to find that the people who did the study and how and where?
Yeah, first of all, I've been working in Madari Hospital for the last 10 years. And in Madari Hospital, we've seen cases where they have Miraa-induced psychosis. And we are able to tell that because when we advise them to stop Miraa, actually some will not even need medication. They recover. But again, I've said not everybody who consumes Miraa gets a psychotic episode or gets a mental problem. And for those who use the quantity is also much. Those who use large quantities are more predisposed.
If you get a high blood pressure, that could tell you not to take tea, not to caffeine.
Yes.
No, it's what say ban tea.
Exactly. And again, I've forgotten to also say that people who are already diagnosed to have schizophrenia and bipolar mood disorder, when they use Miraa, it becomes very difficult to control their symptoms, even though they might be on treatment.
And are there any positive things about Miraa in the body of a person? Anything good?
It's a stimulant which makes people happy. But as to whether it's good or not, it depends on for different people. Some people would want to be excited, others would not. And again, to some people, it can become extreme and interfere with their interactions and even with their work. But again, I know it is also a cash crop for some people, and it is contributed to the economy. Yes.
So from your medical perspective, long-term abuse can have significant detrimental effects. But do you see this actually having a detrimental effect on society? Does Miraa pose a danger to society?
Yeah, if you may look at the society, when you find young people who spend most of their day chewing Miraa instead of being productive, then again it affects the society. And it has also been shown in some cases it can cause liver damage.
Okay, so I'm curious to hear your view on this, because you were saying earlier that you grew up actually chewing Miraa and you have a completely different perspective. Would you agree with what she said?
I actually would challenge the doctor, with the due respect, to tell us what studies she's done. Because now, you cannot just, if you've treated one case or two cases, you cannot come and say, my conclusion is that Miraa causes 1, 2, 3, 4 problems. What the government should do, and the good doctors should do, is to come up with statistics and tell us if the population of Meru County is 1.4, and Miraa is concentrated within the Nyambene area, and the Nyambene area, assuming has a population of 500,000 people, out of the 500,000 people, 300,000 people are sick because of Miraa. But in the absence of statistics, any doctor cannot come up with a case study and say, because I treated one person who happened to be chewing Miraa, then the conclusion is that the people who chew Miraa get sick, or they are mad, or they don't go to school. In any situation, the good doctor comes from, I think, Kitui, and where she was born. They start harvesting in that area. We have children who harvest sad, and they don't go to school. So any activity, if it is not controlled, either by the government or maybe the county level, it is bound to cause an effect. So Miraa in itself does not cause up any problems to the Meru community. But any excessive use of anything, even if it's coffee, even if it's tea, even if it's beer, it is bound to cause a problem. And that is why we are saying we cannot have the government having hands off. Let us have a report in the House, then the government to come up and tell us this is the way to go. Because in my study, I want to recommend to the committee, as a personal opinion and from my research, that let us have Miraa declared as a cash crop. As we speak, there is an act called the Crops Act, Act number 16 of 2013. It is still not yet commenced in terms of operation. It falls under the Ministry of Agriculture. We are going to have the Cabinet Secretary and Agriculture come to us and tell us what is his position in as far as Miraa is concerned. Because we have scheduled crops in that act, in the Crops Act. The scheduled crops in that act are like coffee, tea, wheat, sugarcane, millet, and stuff like that, this kind of cash crops. Now we are asking the Cabinet Secretary, what is your position in as far as Miraa is concerned? If we,
I would definitely advocate for some control and some regulation. Bundles of Miraa, there is no label into it. Nobody thought that it's harmful. Even for people who are growing it, they might not know. So I would definitely advocate for some control and some regulation.
young people don't partake of Miraa, we want people so that if there is a problem, this is the position.
But even traditionally, do young people in Meru?
Actually, they don't.
They don't.
They don't. Young people do not.
They do not.
Because then the elders are there to keep watch of the community.
That might not be consuming, young people might not be consuming Miraa in Meru, and I would certainly would want to do a study to establish that. But we know there are many young people using Miraa. So we can't just say that Miraa in Meru is not consumed by young people. When we know very well in Nairobi, in Kitui, in Northeastern, there are many young people who spend a lot of time chewing Miraa instead of engaging in productive activities.
But then, the interesting thing...
But is it only Miraa that people do? If you go to, in every village, in every township in Kenya, you'll find a lot of young people because of unemployment, not necessarily chewing Miraa.
And that's what I'm saying.
Playing, just laying about. If you talk about young people not working, doing productive work or engaged in Miraa business. Go to Kiambu. How many young people, children, who don't go to school because they are making tea, making coffee? Surely you cannot
certainly,
say,
that's what we are saying.
Yeah.
As much as we know alcohol is still legal in Kenya, and you're saying Miraa is used to pay dowry, even alcohol is used to pay dowry in some places. That doesn't mean that we should not tell the public that in some cases alcohol can be harmful to you. We know cigarette is harmful to your health, and that's why there are labels. It should not be advertised, and you should not sell cigarettes to people of under 18 years. So we certainly need to do that. So we can't just keep quiet and say it doesn't harm the people of Meru, and therefore we should not control it and we should not regulate it. We certainly need to regulate it.
Okay, so I'd like to just briefly discuss what the future is. Ms. Kajiji mentioned that you're tabling a bill in Parliament for the committee to really investigate and review Miraa as an industry. So we're also seeing farmers and politicians